So, let's start with just talking about your, how did you start CrossFit?
So I originally used to dance, and then my parents were really into CrossFit, so I would just follow them to the gym, and then I started doing CrossFit Kids, and then eventually the adult classes, and I found a coach that was at the gym, and yeah, I still have the same coach to this day, so it's pretty cool.
The same coach from the CrossFit Kids?
Yeah, no, he didn't teach the CrossFit Kids, but he approached me at the gym there, so yeah.
So then how did you become competitive? What made you decide to do that, to make that switch?
I think just being competitive is just in my nature. I love to compete with like everything, so I think just knowing that I could work out and compete was like really cool to me.
So you've been to the games twice before this, so talk a little bit about your experience with both of those years.
So the first time I went was in 2019. That year, you know, I hadn't really had a lot of exposure to other CrossFit competitions, so I was really just learning a lot about, you know, strategies, how to handle the workouts, and just being out on the field with everyone else. But now that I've had more of that experience this year, is definitely, I feel like I'm growing more as an athlete, and you know, every year you learn a lot more, so.
So then COVID came right before the season. How did that affect your training, and without the games, how did you stay motivated?
It was actually really hard for me to stay motivated. I was training by myself in my gym, and you know, like, you can train by yourself, but when it's over a long period of time and you just, you know, there were no competitions in sight, so I felt like I wasn't training for everything. So that was definitely really hard for me, but it was a really good mental experience for me. So yeah, of course.
And then this year, how were you like refreshed and like ready to go back in and finish last year?
It was great being able to compete like in person. This is my first in-person competition since like 2019, so it was crazy. So yeah, the training leading up to it was also just super great because, you know, I had a competition in like that I was training for, which makes things a lot more motivating.
So how did the Open go for you?
The Open went really well. I definitely did better than I thought I would, so that was a nice surprise.
And then knowing that you did that well and were competitive with the individuals, how did that kind of change your game plan?
Well, I honestly had no idea. Like, I was thinking maybe in the future I'd have the opportunity of competing with the elites, but the fact that I had the chance to, even though it wasn't an in-person competition, but still like seeing myself on the leaderboard like with their names was totally crazy, and it just boosts my confidence that much more, and you know, it's even more motivating as well. So.
How did semifinals go? What was that experience like?
Semifinals was a lot of fun. I had a really good experience. The first event maybe didn't go as well as I had hoped, but competition isn't over until it's over, so I was just, you know, trying to do as well as I could. It was, again, a great experience being able to compete with those girls.
How did that affect your mental, like your drive to get better and get back there with the individuals next year?
Oh, it totally motivates me even more, just knowing how close I was. And a year, you can do a lot in a year, so I'm really excited to get back to training.
Leading up to the games, how much were you training?
So there were almost Monday through Friday, I'd have like an aerobic session in the morning, whether that be like a track session, swimming, or like bike intervals or something. And then in the afternoons, I would have just like more lifting Metcon stuff. So I trained 6 days a week, but Thursdays are more so just active recovery, and then I got Sundays fully off.
And how are you eating leading up to the games?
So I work with Mike at M2, so he's really helped me a lot through this. So I've definitely learned a lot. I eat a lot, and I just eat a lot. So yeah.
So leading into how does your nutrition change from the games to when you're training?
Well, during a competition, I am definitely someone who struggles to eat. So I love just like small snacky things that are still high in carbs, and like I'll add a carb liquid thing so I can drink that, because then it's easier to get down. So just smaller, easier things, and just trying to snack on them quite often. So.
And is that because of just nerves?
Yeah, all the nerves, yeah.
Do you deal with that a lot?
Of course, yeah.
So you got to the games. Let's just go event by event. Okay. How's event 1?
Event 1 was probably one of my favorite events.
Really?
Yeah, I love running. Really? I love running. I thought that was a really fun event, and it was great just to, first event going well, also boost the confidence a little bit more. So yeah, it was fun.
And then event 2, I wrote it on my hand because I don't remember. It was the rope climbs. Yep. How that rope is really tall. Yeah. Was that different from what you've done in training?
So yeah, I've never actually practiced with a 20-foot rope before, but with the semifinals and quarterfinals, they had a lot of legless rope climbs. So I've definitely been working at them a lot. So it was nice to see it all pay off. Yeah.
And the max snatch.
Oh yes, yeah. Yeah, I was really happy with my score on that one. I PR'd my snatch, so it doesn't get any better than that. Thank you.
So then after day 1, how were you feeling mentally, physically?
Mentally, I was feeling great. Physically, I was also feeling pretty good. Feeling it a little bit, but the adrenaline's still kind of going, so yeah.
And then you started off day 2 with the sandbag handstand walk.
Yes.
And I think you won that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was that?
That event I really enjoyed. I like longer duration workouts, so those are usually my jam, so I had a lot of fun with that one.
So when you got to the swim, what is it like, first of all, just having a run, really, not a swim, but also being out of the, the regular arenas, like getting out in the world and like trying new things that you don't really know how they work?
Of course, yeah, it was really cool to be somewhere else and compete, and yeah, I liked that event. It was cool, and I liked how they had other age groups going with you as well. So
seems like that was also, it was good and bad.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
throwing elbows.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. Chaos. Oh, lots of chaos in the water.
So then there was the sled push.
Yes.
Ouch.
That one hurt real bad. That was painful.
Yeah.
That sled, your legs are so heavy at that point that it's just a grind to the end.
So when you have an event like that that's just so hard to push, how do you get through that mentally?
Well, those events they're so fast that you don't really have time to think about anything until afterwards. And like, I know for myself, and probably, all of my competitors as well, that workouts like that, you want to get to the end and be like, I know I couldn't have pushed any harder. They're just so quick that you don't want to have any regrets. So you can suffer for a couple minutes.
And then after day 2, I can imagine you're a lot more beat up.
I was, yeah. My legs were definitely feeling it. So
what kind of recovery strategies do you have for these kind of things?
So I work with Primo Mobility as well. So I had a lot of recovery stretches and just stuff like that. I also like to use the compacts on my legs. I feel that just kind of flushes them out. And then after the events, I try to go in the cold baths. I feel like that really helps as well. So.
Then to start day 3, you had the double unders.
Oh yes. So that event, I didn't necessarily finish where I wanted to. Those double unders were just so hard to figure out, but I was really proud of, the gymnastics movements have never really been one of my strengths, so I've been working a lot at that as well, and I surprised myself with the bar muscle ups, so that was a win for me, so yeah.
So when you have an event like that that's like not necessarily how you would have liked for it to have gone, how do you like bounce back, especially on day 3?
So it kind of got in my head a little bit. Last day I didn't do as well as I wanted to, but just remembering how far I've come, and I'm doing this for me, and that I should be happy with.
Oh my gosh! Then it was the Amrap. that you were neck and neck the entire time with Olivia.
I love competing with Olivia. Yeah, I love competing with her. She's so awesome. That event really hurt because it was like not long enough to pace yourself, but not short enough to full out sprint. It's just holding that uncomfortable pace for a while. But she was a lot faster than me on the bike, but I was trying to catch up to her on the burpee. So it really just came down to who could go faster on there. So yeah, at the end, I think we finished like 1 calorie. yeah. So it was yeah.
So then, last event, what were you thinking going into it?
I was definitely pretty nervous because I knew if I finished any more than like 3 spots behind Olivia, I would not be able to hang on to the first place. But I try not to let that get in my head too much because at the end of the day, like you can't focus on the outcome. All you can do is really focus on, the workout itself. So I just did what I could. I went based off feel, and it worked out for me in the end. So.
And then once you crossed that finish line, what wave of emotions?
It was crazy. Yeah, it's just so much relief and happiness, and just knowing that all of that time and those days when I didn't feel like training, but I still had to push through it. Like everything was all worth it. So it was a great feeling. Yeah.
So what's the plan for next year?
Next year, well. So I still technically have 1 more year in the teenage division. And just like this year, like no matter elite or teenage, like it's still a great competition either way. But I think it'd be, also a cool experience to see if I could be able to qualify as an individual. So that's the top goal, but yeah, we'll see if we can make that happen.
What changes are you going to make with your training, if any?
Well, usually I just go with the flow and do what my coach tells me, so I'll just see what he tells me to do.
So, obviously when you meet all these kids here that do the same thing as you create a really fast bond, and it's been really cool to watch you guys just become best friends this week. So how does that bond kind of form, and what does that mean to you?
I definitely think we all share the same interest, and like CrossFit is such a huge part of our lives that the dedication and just everything, all the sacrifices we make. So we're all very similar in that way. So I feel like it's just easy for us to get along. But I think it's so cool, having over the years since 2019, I've stayed in touch with Olivia, and so every competition is just so much fun to be around her. And yeah, it's just great to meet other people from different places as well, and even being able to train with them as well leading up to competitions.
Yeah, because you train with Jack.
I do, yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, it's great, yeah. He really pushes me a lot, so it's really awesome that we can do that.
I know you're young, but are you thinking about college at all?
I am, yeah. So I don't, well, in Canada we call it university, but I'm not 100% sure yet what I want to go for, but I would definitely like to, I won't be able to compete forever, and for whatever reason I get an injury, I'd like to have a backup plan, so yeah.
So, family,
yes.
Obviously, your parents are over here.
Of course.
So how do they help you when you're training or competing or annoy you?
My parents do so much for me. I can't say enough about them. They're always my #1 supporters. They're at all the events, and behind the scenes too, they do so much driving for me to get to the gym, because the gym is about half an hour away from my house. So they do all that. My mom helps so much with prepping my food and all that stuff. So they're definitely, and my sister, she's so supportive as well. she's great too. So
let's see. As far as mental coaching, have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, actually, I literally was just talking with my manager about something to start on that track, because the mental game is such a huge part of the sport. So yeah, having that good mentality is huge. So there's always something to work on. So yeah, I think that'd be
So your goal, obviously, to compete at the games as an individual next year. So what is it like being able to look up to people like Mallory and Emma and Haley and all of them?
I think it's so cool. It totally just paves the way, and goes to show that like it's possible and people are doing it. And I just think it's so cool that they're 17 and they're competing with the best, and they are the best athletes as well. So yeah, I think it's really awesome, and they're definitely inspirations.
Okay, so I want you to tell me your favorite memory from this weekend.
Ooh, there's so many. It's so hard. Favorite memory. I don't know. I love, like we already kind of said, just getting to know the other girls and just meeting so many new people and having a fun time with them.
Awesome. Okay, well that's all the questions I have for you.
Yeah.
Do you have any like rally cries, anything else you want to say?
I don't know.
Nope.
No.
Perfect. Then we are all done. Thank you so much.